What's up, everybody?
Hey, everybody.
It is Thursday.
It's Thursday. Another Thursday is here
Another
already.
Thursday is here. And as such, it's time for another Inside the Relationship. So, what we're
Yes.
doing is what we're going to ask you to do, and that is to share it.
Share it, share it, share it, please.
Share it. Share it. Hit the share button so we can get some more folks in here. So, let me do what I'm asking other people to do. And listen, I think it's going to be a good show.
It is. It's always a good
It's
show.
always a good show. That's true. It's always a
It's
good show.
always a good show.
It's always a good show. It's always an opportunity to just kind of get some insight around relationships, to have some great conversation around relationships, and it's just what we love to do. So, listen, without further ado, how about we do this instead of doing anything else? Because I want to get into the show. Um, Actually, there is one thing I need to do before we. There's one thing I need to do before we run the the intro. So let me do that real quick, and then we will run the intro and get into the show. There's one thing I forgot to do, so I just want to make sure that I do this real quick. All right. So while I'm doing this, those of you who are watching now or might be watching the replay, I need you to hit the share button, hit the share button, hit the share button, so that we can get some more people in this conversation as well. So let me do this. Let me hit pause right here.
Welcome. I guess I'll do that
You,
talking stuff. Oh, you're done?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna run the intro. So listen, without further ado, let's get ready for another episode of
Inside the
Inside the
relationship. Here we
Relationship.
go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're watching Inside the Relationship with Denise and Ollie.
So sit back, relax, and let's talk about all things relationships. What's happening,
All right,
everybody?
we're here.
Let me take this out because we're gonna get to that in a second.
Good
That's
evening.
the media
or
mix
good
down.
afternoon, good morning, whatever it is when you actually are watching this.
Yes, and if you're not familiar with who we are, I'm Oliver,
I'm Denise.
and we make up Denali, and we are passionate about seeing relationships thrive. We're authors, speakers, and coaches in the relationship building space. I also work with men based on a book that I wrote. You know what? Since I mentioned the book, why don't I just go ahead and throw it up there so you
Put it
can
up
take a look
there.
at it.
Put it up
Book that I
there.
wrote entitled "Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best Despite what he was taught." Want to be his best despite what he was taught. It is my journey of self discovery in a few different areas. And so I work with men as well. Listen, if you need speakers to come to your church or to your organization or to your small group to talk about relationship building, we want to be those people that you bring in. We have a few places that we're going to be coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking forward to that. Shout out to Barry Tate. Barry Tate, good to see you guys. Love from TNT. Appreciate you being here.
Hello.
Barry Tate from Trinidad. Barry Tate, good guy from Trinidad, man. Just recently married to Cheryl Tate. Congratulations to you all. And
Congratulations
it's
again.
been a couple months now. It's been like two or 3 months, 2 months maybe, something like that, or coming up on 2 months. But congratulations to you all. Listen, before we get into the show, we got a couple good things we want to talk about. Man, my vision is kind of restricted in this. The screen is funny for me today. But anyway, before we get into this, there's something we want to share with you. For those of you who are going to be in the Maryland, Washington, D.C.,
Yes.
or Northern Virginia area on March 23rd,
Yes.
we want you to be a part of this event that is coming up. It's Have a Conversation After Dark, live and in person. Listen, those of you who know us, you know that we do a show on Saturday night called Have a Conversation After Dark, where we talk about all kinds of things as it relates to relationships and marriage. And we've always wanted to take this thing on the road. And finally, the first one is happening in Columbia, Maryland,
Yeah.
March 23. It's going to serve as a dual purpose. We're also going to celebrate my wife's birthday as well, because her birthday
Yes.
is
Whoop,
going to be
whoop.
3 days prior to this event. So, wherever you're watching this, just follow us on social media so that you can see the links to get your tickets for this event. We're really looking forward to this. It's going to be a great time.
Come and join us. Come and celebrate
Yes.
my birthday. This would be a great birthday gift for me.
Yes, just come on out.
Come on out.
Get your tickets. Come on out. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be audience participation. Audience will get to ask questions, and we're just gonna have a great time, man. We're trying to get some other things there. We're gonna have a DJ and have some other things happening there
Mhm.
as well. Some spoken word. So it'll be
Yeah,
a really
it'll be a
nice
really good
experience.
time.
Good evening experience for you to attend.
Get
All right,
your ticket today or tomorrow, since
Yeah.
it's evening time.
Get
If
your
you're
ticket.
where we are, get your ticket soon.
Get your ticket. All right. Let's get into this show. So, for those of you if you saw the graphic for today's show, if you don't know anything about me, you'll find out that I love to spark controversy.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know why.
And if you saw the graphic today, the graphic says she's not the breadwinner,
Yeah.
even if she makes more money. She's not the breadwinner, even if she makes more money. Where did that come from? That comes from our media mix down for today. If those of you who are not familiar with the show, this is your first time seeing the show. The show is in 4 segments. We do a media mix down, we do a question of the week, we do a marriage minute, and then we do a last word, and that makes up the show Inside the Relationship. So we're going to start off with the media mix down. But hold on, before I put that up, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're supposed to introduce the media mix down. So how about we do that first? All right. So in today's media mix down, this is a clip from, I don't know, those of you who watch might be familiar with Shannon Sharp. He has a podcast and has a lot of celebrities on there, has had some really controversial podcasts as of late that have really catapulted him into the space as being wildly popular in that space. This is Cheryl Underwood, a comedian, and Cheryl Underwood is talking about being the breadwinner. And so Shannon is asking Cheryl, what do you, if you make more money, are you the breadwinner? Is essentially what he's asking. All right.
Okay.
So let's take a listen to this.
You okay being the breadwinner in a relationship?
I'm not the breadwinner in the relationship. You mean any man I'm with?
Yeah.
I'm not the breadwinner in the relationship.
But would you be okay if you were?
I'm not. There's no man I know from you or he got a regular job. He work at a warehouse. He is the head of the household. He is the breadwinner. I will chip in as he see fit because he's the head. Now, this is the way I was raised. A lot of women not going to agree with me.
No, they ain't gonna agree with that.
I'm cool if you don't.
The breadwinner, he has normally, that person has the larger voice in the relationship.
Even if I make more money, it doesn't make me the breadwinner.
Oh, okay.
I am advice and concurrence. He is the head of the household. This is what
But what if
I
you got the
believe.
money, you making the money?
No, this is what I believe. He's a man. He is the head of household. People need to start reading Ephesians. That's what I believe. I may be strong-willed. I may make money. I want to make his life better and easier, but I'm not the head of the household.
Are you okay being the breadwinner in a relationship?
What do you think about that?
Well, I think breadwinner is just a term.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But breadwinner is the term for the person that is making the income, right?
Yes.
So if I am making the only one making the income, then the term could be said that I'm the breadwinner. That does not make you not the priest of our home.
Okay.
I think that's 2 different things. I think
Okay.
breadwinner just means the person that's making the money. Maybe we both make money, then we would both be the breadwinner. I don't know. I think it's just a term.
Okay. So
But regardless of who is making the most money,
Mhm.
you are still the priest of our home.
So you agree with the sentiment behind what she's saying, like regardless of who makes because essentially what she's saying, what I hear her saying is that it don't matter whether she makes more or not. That from a positioning standpoint, he's still, because it switches. They switch language from breadwinner to head of household
Right.
during the clip.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with her sentiment that the husband is the priest of the home. I agree with that.
Okay.
But she's also saying if she is the one making the most money, that she is not the breadwinner. And if breadwinner simply means the person that's bringing in the income, then she is the breadwinner. She's just not the priest of the home.
Okay.
That's how I look at breadwinner.
Okay. There are
It's
a
just a
couple different
term.
there are a couple different definitions of breadwinner. If you look at the dictionary.com definition, it's a person who earns money to support the family. But then if you look at Merriam-Webster,
Mhm.
it says a member of the family whose wages supply the family's principal or only means of support.
Yeah, to me that's the same thing. But yeah, that still does not make me the priest of the home.
Okay.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a
So
word, in
so
my opinion.
let me ask you this, because in the clip, Shannon says to her,
Yeah, he said something. I can't remember what he said.
generally the person who is bringing in the most money has the most say.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
No,
Okay. Why not?
I don't agree with that because once we're married, we are one,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
So I don't care who is, obviously, if someone gets laid off and there's only one income,
Mhm.
it's still our money because we are now one.
Yeah.
Or if it has been decided that one of us is going to stay home and the other one of us is going to work outside of the home,
Mhm.
that's an agreement that we came to. And so it's our money still. My opinion,
Okay.
I know that a lot of people don't
Mhm.
agree with that, but I think once we're married, we are one.
Mhm. So no his and hers money. I know that's kind of
Yeah, you kind of went off
diverting
on
the
on
topic,
diverting.
but
It's just all our money. I
okay.
understand, people are like, well, need to put some away and she needs to be able to do this and he needs to be able to do that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I personally, it's just all one thing for me. Just put it all in here
Okay.
and we'll divvy it up
We'll figure
how
out what we
we
need to do.
agree to divvy it up.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
But as it relates to what Cheryl Underwood says in terms of the breadwinner, I understand what she's saying, because essentially what she's saying is no matter how much money I make, even if I'm making more, that from a positioning standpoint, he holds a particular position, and that position is not determined by whether he makes more money or not.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that. He's the head of the house, as he should be.
Okay. For those of you who might be jumping in and out or may have missed the video that I shared, the video that I shared is in relationship to the topic for the thumbnail, which is she's not the breadwinner, even if she makes more money. And it was a clip from Shannon Sharp's interview with Cheryl Underwood, where she was saying that she is not the breadwinner. Doesn't matter whether she makes a whole lot of money or not. They kind of mixed up that terminology, because they
Yeah.
went from breadwinner to head of
Head of
household,
household.
which is what she was essentially saying is it doesn't matter how much money she makes,
Yeah.
even if she makes a ton more money than him, that from a positioning standpoint, she will never be head of household. Let us know what you think about that. Because believe it or not,
I was gonna say that trips a
that
lot
is,
of couples up.
listen,
That is a sore topic
listen.
for a good amount of couples.
And
Believe it or not.
And if you didn't know that, we're here to tell you, because we have had the privilege of serving many couples over the years, and that
It's a sore
is
topic.
a sore topic. I can think of a particular couple that I was working with them primarily. You weren't working with them that much, but I was working with them primarily, and that was a source of contention, because The husband felt like because the wife was a C-suite executive, and he was just an individual, not just, he was an individual contributor
Yeah, I
in his
remember that.
company. His wife was a C-suite in her company, C-suite executive. And there was always this kind of tug of war because he
Mhm.
felt like he was getting treated like an employee
Yeah.
of his wife, right?
Yeah.
And so I can name several different instances of that over the years that we've run across. And so that is definitely
It
a
can be a
source of
thing,
contention.
yeah, for a lot
It
of
is.
couples.
It is.
And I think the remedy for that, if you want to, or the way to mitigate that, is to have these conversations,
Mhm. You didn't bring your fan
preferably.
today, huh?
I didn't bring my fan today. Preferably before you get married, so you know where you
Yeah.
stand and you know whether this is something you're going to be able to live with or not.
Yeah. And honestly, man, like I know some people are probably gonna may feel some kind of way when I say this, right? But this relationship thing, man, and the more we do this,
Mm-hmm.
the more we talk to couples, the more we grow as a couple.
Yeah, that part.
We're starting to realize, man, that a lot of this, man, we make a lot of this harder than it should be. Like a lot of this is a lot harder than it should be. Like if we're mature adults, like and I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't necessarily want to offend anybody, but I'm gonna say it this way. Many of the issues that couples face, including us, points back to our maturity level and our perspective around that situation.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I know.
I don't know.
And
if
I said that because I knew you wouldn't agree with me. But go ahead. Say
I don't
why
know
you say that.
if I agree that it points back to our maturity level, at least not always.
Okay.
Because often it just points back to what we learned, how we grew up.
Yeah, I can see
our
that.
family, like what we saw.
But when I say maturity level, though, right? At some point, you got to make a decision around what it is you want to see and what it is you want to experience.
Yeah, but what if what I want to see and what I want to experience is what I've always seen in my family? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but what if it ain't working for you though? Do you still want to see that?
I see, I get your point, but I don't know if that's a maturity level. That's just, it's difficult to change what you've always known.
I agree with
What
that.
you've learned.
I agree with that.
How you've grown up. What a family of origin. That's what it's called. It's difficult to
I agree with that.
change your mindset from that.
I agree with that.
So,
it is difficult to change your mindset. I think the point I'm making, and maybe maturity is not the right word. The point, and maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe it's just how I think. Mm-hmm. At some point, I was like, listen, what I'm seeing now, this ain't how I'm trying to live my entire life. Like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I can't live in a marriage like this.
Yeah.
So I need to do something. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's
the answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. But for me, I felt like that was the common sense thing.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
Like if I'm banging my head up against the wall and I'm like, man, I'm really tired of bleeding, then I should probably stop banging my head up against the wall.
Yeah,
I should probably figure something else out. Like even if I don't know what is the next thing I should do, I know I don't want to keep bleeding. Mm. So if nothing else, I should probably just at least stop banging my head against the wall. And then we can figure out what the next thing is, right?
Yeah.
Barry said, I agree for the most part, I agree with you, Denise. The man has the position of head, and the term head from a scriptural stance is translated source and not boss. The question, therefore, is source of what? Mm-hmm. And Barry's comment is going back to our media mixdown. If you didn't, we kind of veered way off.
Yeah, we went down a different path.
But if you missed the media mixdown, you're gonna have to go back and check that out so you can understand the context behind what Barry was talking about. So listen, that was the media mixdown. And for those of you who came into the conversation late, we weren't taught. That's not what the media mixdown was about. Yeah, the media mixdown was about head of household in relationship to the amount of money that's being made. a clip from Cheryl Underwood saying that it doesn't matter how much money she makes, there from a positioning standpoint, she's not ever going to be top dog. So let us know what you think about that. Also, if you have anything that you would like for us to talk about, if you see something in social media and say, man, that would be a great media mix down for them to talk about on Inside the Relationship,
Yeah.
you can send us a
it to
DM
us.
wherever you're watching this right now, or you can email us. And I guess I should put the email up on the screen.
You can send it to us, or you can email us at admin@denali.org, and we'll take a stab at it.
We will.
We'll chop it up.
We will. All right. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, which is the question of the week.
Question of the week. Here we go. We have constant disagreements about setting boundaries with our extended family. How can we find common ground without offending anyone? The truth is,
You can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. As you were. All right. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that. I was going to say that, but I wasn't going to be so blunt about it. But there you have it. I was going to say that. I was going to say the truth is you might end up offending some people.
Mm-hmm.
But are you trying to make your relationship, your marriage, the priority, or are you trying to make your extended family the priority? That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Which one is going to be first? Which one is going to take the priority? That's what it boils down to.
Listen, I'm trying to please two people, and I don't want to sound dismissive to this question because this is another very big issue.
It's
with
not
couples.
a dismissive thing, but that is the fact.
That is the fact, right?
Either you're going to make your marriage a priority, which means setting those boundaries and sticking to those boundaries.
Yep.
Or you're not.
Now, let me say
anything else is going to become the priority.
Right. What I was going to say earlier is I'm only trying to please two people, God and her. Now, if anybody else kind of feels like feels some kind of way, like I can't do nothing about that. Now, here's the other side of that coin. If those constant disagreements about setting boundaries are disagreements between us two and we can't get on the same page, that's different. That's a problem with us now. And our ability to negotiate, our ability to employ the team concept so that we can have a set of principles to stand on.
Well, that's what I assumed was that the constant disagreement was between the couple.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a constant disagreement between the couple, both of you have to realize that either your marriage is the priority or it is not.
Right. Agreed. And if it's the priority, you're going to work together to come to some level of agreement. Now, that agreement is going to require you to do some negotiation. That agreement is probably going to require both of you to have some level of flexibility, because it's not going to be one person's situation or one person's set of blueprints around extended family and the other person has no say. It's going to be the two of us saying, okay, I may feel like, let's give a real world example. And I don't know what their example is, but I'm going to just use one for the sake of what I'm about to say. Let's say, for example, I feel like, let's say I have brothers, which I don't, but let's say I have brothers and I'm like, man, my brothers can come over whenever they feel like it.
Yeah.
And she's like, hold on, wait a minute. Like I get they're your brothers, but they can't just be walking up in here unannounced. Right. So now we got to figure out what is the common ground that we can create so that she doesn't feel slighted in any way. And so that I don't feel slighted in any way. And that may require us to have some conversations and some negotiation. Hey, listen, man, I really like when they're over here. they kind of keep me grounded, and I tell her why it's important to me, and she tells me why they can't just walk up in here at any time of the day or night. Okay, what can we do? All right, listen, you know what?
Let's have some days.
Let's have some days.
Set-
Let's have some
decide what
times.
days
Right.
and times. Yeah.
Between these days, hey, Sunday is fair game, free game. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. Nobody has to call. But on this day, I need a heads up. Right. That's what you do. And I think that's what I think when I think mature couples. Like at some point, your maturity level grows to the point where you can have these conversations. They're not arguments. They are disagreements, but they're not arguments. They don't cause conflict, and you're able to negotiate to get to a resolution.
But I think even more than that, that's great that we have come up with that agreement, right? If that's what it is.
Right.
I think the important part, that's us coming up with the agreement, though, is not setting the boundary.
Talk about that.
Setting the boundary is now going back to your brothers.
Yes.
And saying, hey, y'all just can't be rolling up in here anytime you want to. Me and my spouse have decided that
this is what we're going to do.
This is what we're going to do. Sunday, fair game. Game day, come on over. It's all cool. Whatever you want. Any other day or this day, and this day, give us a call.
Yeah, you got to give me a heads up.
Give me a heads up, and we will let you know if it's a good time to come over or not. And that's setting the boundary. If we come to an agreement, but you haven't told whoever the other person is about this agreement,
then we didn't.
You haven't set a boundary.
Yeah.
You've just come to an agreement and just waiting to see if it will happen or not, which it won't because they don't know about the boundary.
That's a good point. And to speak to this offending anyone, listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it don't matter whether you feel some kind of way about it. Because that's what we decided.
That's what.
So
we decided.
either you are going to come on board with that, or you aren't. And if you aren't, there's some things that may disappear as it relates to I'm not going to cut you off. You're my brothers, but there may be some things that kind of disappear from the way we interact if you can't respect that.
And the next thing is, you were saying that you didn't know if the constant disagreements was between the couple,
right,
or the extended family. If the constant disagreements are between you and the extended family, you don't have to talk to family every day, or you don't have to be in relationship with family. That will stop the constant disagreement, I would imagine.
Listen, it ain't gonna be no constant disagreement with me, because that's not how I get down. Like, I ain't gonna be arguing. I ain't gonna be going back and forth. Like, that's Oliver Marcel. I'm not saying that that's something you gotta adopt, but Oliver Marcel ain't putting all that energy towards going back and forth. So if you're offended, sorry about that.
Love you still.
She come first, homie. Like,
love you still, but we're not. It's not gonna be no disagreement.
Yeah.
I love you from a distance.
Yep. Mina.
What?
What's happening?
See, I didn't even know.
I said it right.
And I didn't know who you were talking about. I was like,
I said it
what?
Right. I gave in. She put a post up and she
had
tagged us. I said, I'm gonna give in.
I saw it.
I'm gonna do the right. I'm gonna do the right thing.
Hi, Mia.
I haven't got her on board yet, but we gonna.
It's like, Mina. What are you talking about?
Good to see you, Armina, in the house. Phenomenal therapist. If you're looking for, well, actually, I don't know if she's. Let me not say that because I don't know if she's taking.
Yeah, you always do that, and you don't
be
know if
out
they're
there.
taking
I don't
clients.
know if they're taking clients or not. But anyway, she's phenomenal.
She is a phenomenal therapist.
If she ever becomes available, you should probably find yourself in that direction. So, all right, that is the question of the week. If you have any questions that you want us to tackle, you want to hear our 2 cents about the question, just like with the media mix down, you can DM us wherever you're watching this, or you can send an email to the email that's on your screen, and we will make sure that we get that up in a show. Yep. All right, let's get on with the show. Man, it's already been 30 minutes. That went by really fast. It did. All right, let's get into this marriage minute. Let's go. All right. So the marriage minute today, I want to share something, a mistake that a lot of couples make when they receive marital advice.
Oh, okay.
So, as you know, there's a ton of marital advice.
Hmm.
There, if you Google marriage on YouTube,
Yeah, you'll
um,
see the whole gamut.
spoiler alert, we're not the only show on YouTube. There's a million of them. And there's clips that float around, and there's sound bites that float around, and there's articles, and there's blogs. And I mean, it's just a plethora of information,
Mhm.
right? And I'm not knocking information. What I am encouraging you to do is not to make this mistake. And we have seen couples make this mistake quite often. A a husband or a wife, whoever, one spouse will become inundated with or go down the rabbit hole of a particular therapist or
Mhm.
influencer or coach, and they will garner all this information, and they will now browbeat their spouse with this information.
Oh, what?
So for example, let's say I'm looking at some information, and I come across a clip that says, uh which, let me just put this disclaimer out there: everything you hear, you probably ain't supposed to take to heart. And I hope you already know that. But let's just say I hear something that says, you know what, if your wife doesn't respond to you in the first time that you say something to them, they're disrespecting you, and you should never
Mm,
take that.
I got you. Yeah.
Now I go to talk. This was never a problem for me before.
Right.
Now I go to her and I say something, and she don't respond the first time, and I'm like, see, you disrespected me because so and so said, oh, wait,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
That is a mistake that we see couples make quite often.
Hmm.
It may be phenomenal advice.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everything out there that starts this kind of conflict is just terrible advice. Some of it is great advice. But the thing that did not take place was, one, you didn't share what you were learning.
Hmm.
Two, you didn't personalize what you were learning.
Yes. That part.
So there are things that we learn, right? And we have to have a conversation about, hey, what do you think about that? How does that work with us?
Right. Because you may not be, the whole thing may not apply to you
Right.
in your relationship. So have a conversation about it. And, hey, what do you think about this?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, I agree with that, but I don't think that that would work for
Right.
us.
Right.
And I'm a little uncomfortable about that part. Maybe we need to do it this way instead of that way,
So that it works for
so
us.
that it works for us.
Right. Think about it like this. If I hand you, I'm not a baker, so this, I don't know, just forgive me if this doesn't make a lot of sense. I can cook, but I don't do a lot of baking. If I hand you a recipe for red velvet cake, and you look through that recipe, you may look through that recipe, and as is, you may be like, okay, I'm off to the races because this is gonna work.
Mhm.
Or you may look at it and be like, I don't really want to use a whole lot of one particular ingredient because I don't really like how that tastes and
Yeah.
that kind of thing, right? It doesn't mean that you scrap the red velvet recipe. You
Mhm.
tweak
You
it
tweaked it
so that the
to your
outcome,
liking.
right? The outcome is what you want.
Yeah.
Same thing with this, right? We have seen couples, and I don't like being a referee in our sessions, but every once in a while it does happen. And often it is around something that one spouse is trying to superimpose on the other one
Mm,
without having a conversation about how this
yeah.
works for their relationship.
Yeah. And that's kind of unfair if you think about it, because most of the time, your spouse, their likes and dislikes.
Hmm.
If you really have learned, or at least are trying to learn, their personality,
Hmm.
their character, that this thing, yeah, I don't know, this may not be for him or her.
Right.
but I like it, so I'm
Right.
I'm just gonna adopt it for us. That's kind of unfair.
It is unfair.
Yeah.
And you should be looking for ways to make sure that the things that you digest,
Mhm.
you're able to personalize for your own success.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about even the stuff you hear from us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The stuff you hear from us, you need to be able to sit down with your spouse and be like, hey, you know what? Oliver and
Would
Denise
this
was talking
work?
about such and such and such. What you think about that? Like,
Would
is
this
that
work
does
for
that work
us?
for us? Like, or
Absolutely.
is that an adjustment we can make,
Yeah.
or what adjustment do we need to make?
Mhm.
You know, because it's obvious we want to communicate better, or we want to resolve conflict better, or we want to build intimacy better. But what they said specifically, how do you think that plays out with us? Is that something we can pull off, or is that something we need to make some adjustments to make it our own?
Right.
Have that conversation.
Yeah.
Don't make the mistake of browbeating your and you know where this would happen often?
Mhm.
This happens often in religious settings. So like say one spouse is a church goer, one spouse is pretty devout as it relates to whatever their religious organization is, and the other spouse is not.
Mhm.
And they gain some type of knowledge from the pulpit and they come home and slap their spouse around with that knowledge that they gain.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Whether it's marriage, whether it's finances, whether it's whatever it is,
Whatever it is.
have a conversation. Talk about how you can adopt this in a way that works for you.
Because again, remember, you are now you're now one.
Yeah.
And so I can't bring something or adopt some idea or notion or whatever you want to call it. I can't adopt it because I like it.
Right.
Because now it's almost like once you become married, it's a different thought process, or I'm not just thinking for myself. You're not just thinking for yourself.
Mhm.
I'm thinking for us. And so it can't be something that I think would be a good idea. And I've never talked to
Right.
you about it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So that's the marriage minute today. Shout out to Rochelle in the comments. She says, speak on it.
Hi, Rochelle.
That's the marriage minute for today. And we see that.
Mhm.
And I thought it would be good to share because we do see that. We see that, oh, well, John Gottman said such and such and such and such. Okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
I love John Gottman.
Exactly.
And there are some things that we have pulled into our coaching experience from what we've learned from a certification that we got from John Gottman, right? So it's not downing John Gottman, but it is now, are you having that conversation with your spouse to say, okay, let's say it's bids for connection, or let's say it's the four horsemen, or one of the other very popular things that he talks about. Are you having a conversation with your spouse now saying, hey, listen,
How
you
would
know,
this work for
John,
us?
I was listening to this thing about stonewalling from John Gottman, and man, it just got me thinking this such and such and such. How can we make this work, or how can we do this so that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Not just boom, 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 punching your spouse in the face over
We're
this
gonna
thing.
start doing this now.
Right.
This is it. We're gonna start doing this.
Right. And God forbid is terrible advice.
Oof.
That makes it 10 times worse. And in this soundbite age that we live in, where people's attention spans are not longer than 90 seconds, if that, and you get these clips, people even do it with us. We'll put a clip on TikTok, a 90-second clip of an hour-long conversation, and you should see some of the crazy comments.
Yeah.
And sometimes now I don't even respond anymore, but I used to be like, there's no way in the world you watched that whole episode.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have said that.
Right.
But people take that stuff and they run with it.
Mhm.
And then they wonder why there's so much conflict. So that's a mistake that couples make. Please don't do that. Make sure that you're having a conversation with your spouse, that you are taking the information that you're ingesting. You're talking about how you can make it applicable to your specific marriage.
Yeah.
Because everybody's marriage looks different.
Different.
What works for us might not work for you, and vice versa. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. That is the marriage minute for today, which brings us down to the end of the show.
Mhm.
And typically we end the show with a last,
Last
word.
word.
All right. So let's hit the last. Okay. So do you have a last word?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I have one too, but go ahead. You do yours.
Okay. So the last word is this. It's February. It is pretty much the end of February, right?
Hmm.
So I in my mind, we're still in the beginning of the year type thing.
Okay.
At least we're in the first quarter, at least.
Yep. Hmm.
And often in the beginning of the year, you may not call it a resolution, but you may have a goal that you wanted to make sure comes to pass in your relationship, right?
Hmm.
And maybe it didn't work out yet. Maybe the steps in that goal, maybe you haven't even hit the first step yet. And maybe by now you were hoping that you would. I want you to remember that you can start something new at any time. It doesn't have to be in January. So if here is February and your goal hasn't been met yet, your benchmark hasn't been met in this goal that you planned for this year, you can start anew at any time. It doesn't have to be in
That's good.
January.
Mhm.
January 1st is a day, but then again, so is February 20th. And so is March 29th. Whatever day you pick, you can start there. So I don't want you to give up and be like, oh, forget it. This ain't going to work. I didn't meet the benchmark
Mhm.
that I had hoped or that I had planned by now.
Yeah.
It's fine. Still start. Whatever the plan is, whatever the goal was, whatever the benchmark was, you can start it at any time.
That's good.
Starting anew can be and it could be December 31st. Doesn't even matter.
That's good.
Don't give up is what I'm saying. And don't throw the towel in and be like, forget it. I missed it. You didn't miss it. Just
Yeah.
start over.
That's good. I love it. You can start over at any date.
Mhm.
While you were saying that, I was thinking from this day forth is not
Mhm.
attached to any date.
It is not.
Like you could get up and say that every day if you really wanted to.
Yep.
Now, hopefully you execute in a way that doesn't make you have to say that every day.
Right.
But if you do, you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Right? God's mercies are new every day.
Every day.
So
God.
if you got to say that every day, then do it.
Yeah.
Right? So from this day forth, whatever the thing is that you put behind that is what it is. Rochelle said I needed that.
Oh, I'm so glad.
That's what's up. Yeah. So man, great last word. Great last word, because that's going to free up a lot of people
Yeah.
to really, to wake up tomorrow morning and be like, yep, I'm about to do that.
Yeah. I just don't want people to get hung up on the date of January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Any day can be your January 1st.
And don't get hung up on whether. So here's the next thing, right? Don't get hung up on you starting on January 1st and not making it past Quitter's Day, which I think was January 10th. That's okay, because what some people do is the thing doesn't work out. The consistency isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
It fails, whatever the case is, and they just let it go.
Yeah.
Only to come back around the next year to try to do it again. No, don't wait that long.
Yeah. Right.
From this day forth does not have a date attached to it. So, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Listen, that's our show for today. Hopefully you gained something from that. Those of you who might have missed the beginning, make sure you go back and check out the media mixdown. Would love to hear what your thoughts are about the media mixdown and the clip that we played from Shannon Sharp's interview with Cheryl Underwood. Also, for those of you who are in the DMV, appreciate you, Barry. Barry said, great show, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here and being in the comments. For those of you who are in the DMV, the Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia areas, we want you to come hang out with us. March 23, the Saturday night show that we do on YouTube. We are doing it live in front of a live audience. We're going to have some music. We're going to have some spoken word. We're going to celebrate my wife's birthday, which is going to be 3 days before this event.
Yes.
So
come on out and celebrate with us.
Come through. Have a conversation after dark. There are going to be some, listen.
So much fun.
We're going to have good. We're going to have fun because it's going to be top. Fun. If you've watched any of the After Dark episodes on Saturday nights, you already know the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about. So it's going to be really, really good time.
And the great thing about it, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
The great thing about it is, if you've watched our show,
Mm-hmm.
After Dark, our After Dark show, yes, you can, people always comment and have stuff to say in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
If you come to our live in-person event, you can talk to us.
Yeah.
We'll have microphones set up.
Yep.
So you can respond in person and live. We get to see you, we get to hear you. It will be great.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. So those of you, and it's going to be the first of many. Our goal is to do this in several cities around the country.
Yes.
And so hopefully we'll be coming to a city near you at some point.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tanique Gentles in the comments.
My girl.
Barry also
Great
said
to
happy
see
birthday
you.
in advance.
Oh, thank you.
Listen, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you all for being the best part of this. Those of you who are in the comments, and those of you checking it out now, and those of you who will check out the replay, thank you for doing that. This is Inside the Relationship, a show about all things relationships, and we hope that something that was said today will either spark conversation or will be a motivation or an inspiration to you as you travel your relationship journey. All right.
Tanique said she had clients tonight. Yeah, go back and watch it, rewatch it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to hear Tanique's take on the media mixdown. Yeah, that would be interesting to hear your take on that as well. So listen, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much, guys. We will see you on. Well, we might not see you on Saturday night.
We might.
We'll see. We'll see. We may run a rebroadcast Saturday night for have a conversation after dark, but we'll see. But at any rate, have a fantastic rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and listen, man, just remember you're a team, and think about how a team operates.
Yes,
a good team,
a
team that wants to win, and just start executing. All right. Listen, we'll see you next week for another episode of Inside the Relationship. Until then, take care.
Good night.
Peace. That's not not the
wrong outro.
I'm thinking have a conversation after dark, and so that's where I went because we were just talking about that. Anyway,
that don't sound right.
I do that quite often, but that's okay.
It's okay. Play the right one.
Yeah. See you. Peace.